Hi everybody, and thanks for joining Stamp with Tracy for today's Wow Wednesday. Today I'm going to work with a stamp set that is called Sea Turtle, and the Sea Turtle stamp set is available in the annual catalog, and the item number is 160500, and I absolutely love it. It doesn't have any verses with it, which is fine. I just love to use it for the type of stamp set that it is. It actually is a reversible stamp set. So not only do you have the front side of the images that you can stamp, but you can turn them over on your stamp acrylic block and get the background look. And I'm actually going to show you using one of those today. But I love it. It's absolutely awesome. And almost each one of the stamps do have the ability to turn over and make a background behind it. So they're called our reversible stamps. I hope you've used them before. And if you haven't, today you get a chance to see how they work. I'm also going to be using the Rays of Light. I'm not sure if you remember a few weeks ago we used this, and we used this with the baby wipe technique. And that's actually what this card here was made with. I have, whenever I do the baby wipe technique, I always do a couple of pieces of background with it while my baby wipe is still wet. And this was one when we got right to the very end, and it was drying out, and I tried to get just a couple more little pieces. Sorry, there's a light glare in here, and I was seeing if I could get that out, but I don't think I can, and I don't like to play with it once I've started my video. So we'll just leave that little glare in there for right now. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, this is used, there it goes. This is used, that background, and it's very, very, very faint in the background, but this was that baby wipe technique where I used the Rays of Light and got a really cool background look. So like I said, I like to use those baby wipes up until they're completely dried out. So I went ahead and did quite a few pieces of background on my basic white paper, and then I created this card by doing some of the cool pieces in here. Now, I did not do any of the backgrounds on this one, but each piece has a background that I could have made a subtle color behind it as well. So like I could have made this solid behind all my little bubbles in the water. I could have chose to put the solid little thing behind my fish. This time I didn't. But what I wanted to show you today is a technique doing the reverse side. So this is the card I'm going to show you how to make today. It's a silhouette card, and I absolutely love it. I always have like that silhouette look, and I do it quite often on cards that I give out. And we have quite a few stamps that work very well with this type of thing. A good solid image is what you need to make a good silhouette card. So we're going to start off with our card base of being the Azure Afternoon, which is one of our newer colors that was introduced at the beginning of this annual catalog back in April. And I love this blue, and it matches so well with Tahitian Tide that we have, plus Balmy Blue. It just goes so great with so many different blues that we have. It reminds me, it's very similar to an old blue that we had that I absolutely loved. So we're going to be bringing that back. So this piece of basic white is going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller, and it will go onto our card base. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down and get that assembled a while. And then I'll show you how we're going to make our background, and then using our turtle stamp to the reversible side of that turtle stamp and get that nice silhouette image from him. So we'll set this aside when we're ready to use it. So we're going to start with, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here. We're going to start with doing the background of the Rays of Light first. And I am going to use my Azure Afternoon pad. When I have a really big background stamp like this, I do like to put my pad to the ink versus taking my stamp and going onto, I like to take my ink pad to the stamp versus going on and putting my stamp to the ink pad. I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's just not coming out. So then I take another piece of nice big scrap paper, and I'm going to lay this on here. And since it's actually smaller than my raise, I'm not coming all the way over to the edge because I want to make sure I have an edge on my cardstock, that it goes all the way over to the edges so I don't have an edge. Then I take a piece of scrap paper and I just rub my hand against it to get that ink transferred to that piece of basic white. Now I find this way much easier when you're using a large background stamp. And sometimes regular stamps that are just large, I enjoy doing it that way so much better. So there we have it. And us not having those full edges filled in is no problem whatsoever. I love that look, and that's basically what we're looking for. And we are going to use our blending brushes now to sort of help us with that background. So I have Tahitian Tide. I'm going to start with my lightest color first. And I have a blending brush. And there's my ink pad of Tahitian Tide. And whenever I'm using my blending brushes, I like to come in off the paper. And I'm going to come in very lightly, but off my paper first, so that I don't get big gob circles or anything of my ink. I tend to, if I put it right down on here, I press too hard, and then I get like this, the shape of the blending brush as a ink mark onto my background. So when I'm blending, I do like to come off the paper and then blend into my cardstock. And I'm coming right in, trying to leave some of that white. If I don't leave some of it white, it's no big deal, but that's just the look that I'm looking for. And I'm coming in and filling in all of the white except the very, very center of my circle there. Then I'm going to come to another color and just lightly brush off on my scrap paper before I go to another color. I like to keep my blending brushes. I have 3 or 4, and I like to do the red tones, the blue tones, the green tones, and then my light yellows and things like that. And I'm going to go right back to this. Now I'm going to make a heavy presence around the edges with this Night of Navy. Night of Navy. So I'm going to make a more prominent look of a darker edge around. I'm going to come in a little bit deeper on my corners and a little bit less on the actual edge. And this is something I always start off with doing a little. Hope I'm not shaking the table too much for you, because I know sometimes when I do this type of work on here, it shakes my little table. Again, on the corners, I'm coming in a little bit further. And then just continue around the edges here. I just love this Rays of Light stamp set. I hope you've been able to purchase it and play with it. If you haven't, I'd love to see you do so. I showed last week the card style that's going to be in my class to go this month. So if you place a $40 order this month and you use my July host code, you'll get sent the product kit to make 2 of those really cool pop-out diamond fold card. Fun fold pop-out diamond card is what I think I named it. It just had a name everywhere I looked at it that said Fun Fold. So I added a little bit to it because I used diamonds on it. But anyway, that's the kit you'll get to make 2 cards. There will be no stamping on there. And I have a few samples from last week of the type of stamps that I used for it. So if you do like to place an order and use the July host code for a $40 order this month, you will receive the card kit for July. So here I have my Stamparatus, which sadly we do not sell anymore, but I highly recommend using this. Let's see now which way I got to go with this. Sorry, I need to turn this around. Going to have this down here and using my magnets to hold it. Bring it up a little higher so you can see. I'm going to turn around this way so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit easier on here. So right now, I am going to place the smooth side of my stamp down where I want it to go on my card. Then I bring over the lid of my stamp apparatus and I pick up the stamp. Now this is the smooth side. So of course with the other card that I made, I had the textured side in the stamp, and you saw like the different textures, and that was with that baby wipe technique as well on that other card that I showed you that I just made. That's here under all my stuff somewhere that I just moved this on top of. So anyway, this was multicolors because I used the baby wipe technique, but of course you could stamp it just in black and then you could color it in. You could stamp it in a very light color so you don't see the lines, but I'm using the reverse side and I'm going to ink it up in black because of the silhouette look I want. So I like to use my stamp apparatus because it lines up all the time, and when you're doing a silhouette, especially on a large stamp, it doesn't always fill in that well. So I like to smear around for my black, and usually I put something underneath over here and it helps to have a nice flat surface, and then you can ink it up a lot better. So I'm just going to start with my first one. And stamp and press really hard. And what I love about the stamp apparatus or any other type of positioning tool that you have is that you just pick it up and you re-ink and you come right back to it, and you'll be in the same place until you get the desired look that you want. I'm having a little bit of trouble getting in here to this foot. Because of my hinge here. I don't want to move it now because I've already started my stamping. So I'm just going to press down again. And he's getting a little bit more solid. Trying not to shake the table so much. And when I practiced with this and made the other card, I'm just wondering if maybe I used up a lot of my ink and I didn't re-ink my pad, because I have been doing a lot of stamping, trying to prep because I'm having company, and I'm going to be pushed out of my stamp room because it becomes a bedroom for my company. So I'm trying to get things done in advance. So I've been doing a lot of stamping and probably need to re-ink some of my ink pads that I've been using so much. So you always want to make sure you have refills available, especially when you're using your blending brushes. Sometimes that takes quite a bit of ink away, but you get the idea here. So basically I'll just show you now. There's the finished product of this card, which I absolutely love. Again, this was the Rays of Light and the stamp set Sea Turtle, and they're both available in the current catalog. Let me get this background paper out of the way here. And it was the Rays of Light and Sea Turtle. And they're the really two cool cards we made today. So I hope you like this technique of the silhouette with the black turtle and the idea of the reversible stamps. Like I said, if you haven't used them before, they're really awesome. I love this stamp set, and there's so many more ideas I've seen that I really want to do with it. So I'm sure I'll be using this again soon in another Wow Wednesday. But I did have to get this video taped in advance, like I said, because I'm having company. My grandchildren are coming for a whole week. It's so exciting to have them down here at the beach with us. So I'll sort of be off the grid. I'll be posting my normal posts, But if you need me for anything, please make sure to message or text me, and I'll do my best to get back to you just as soon as possible. Don't forget to place that order with a July host code of $40, and you'll be available to get the card kit to make 2 of those cool cards that I call a Fun Fold Diamond Pop-Out card. And there it is from last week. So you won't be getting the stamped images, but you will be getting all of the cardstock and a PDF tutorial showing you step-by-step how to make that pop-out card. So thanks for joining me, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed today's Wow Wednesday. Don't forget to like and comment so you have a chance to win these cool cards that I made for this week's Sea Turtle stamp set, reversible stamp set. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.